Good evening, everyone. I'm David Allen. Thanks for joining us online. We begin with a look at the damage Dorian left behind. The coastline up and down the Carolinas battered by the Category 2 hurricane. This is Emerald Isle, where tornadoes leveled a trailer park and businesses. People here now needing to start over. This is one of the hardest hit areas on the Outer Banks. This morning, Dare County officials announced a partial re-entry to areas north of Oregon Inlet, and residents are now allowed back to Corolla and Corova Beach. Hatteras Island is still closed. Moments ago, North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper gave an update on what's next for the Outer Banks, primarily Ocracoke. We learned that 2 people died there as a result of Dorian. Many people were stranded and had to be rescued. Cooper also said rescuers still are there, providing people with water, food, and shelter.
A lot of our volunteers are there beginning to serve hot meals. On Ocracoke Island right now, they've gotten the water system back up running, but they still are working to try to get power restored, and they don't expect that to happen for several days. We have an emergency response team there. We're very proud of our men and women of the National Guard who have worked very hard during the storm and are there still on Ocracoke Island.
Cooper also said that the state and local officials, as well as volunteers there, are continuing their cleanup efforts and are trying to get everything back to normal. Hurricane Dorian has made its way to the northeast, now causing some issues for parts of Canada. And in Hampton Roads, we're still seeing some rough waves. Evan Stewart is here with the latest on Dorian. Evan, causing issues, a hurricane for Canada, huh?
That's right. Well, as of the 5 o'clock advisory, it's now a post-tropical system, but still it has winds of 100 miles per hour, which is well up into that Category 1 and Category 2 hurricane strength, something that you don't see across eastern Canada very often. As we take a look at the satellite and radar, it doesn't look like your typical tropical system because it's not anymore. As I said, it is a post-tropical storm, a post-tropical system, and it is now transitioning and starting to show some of that big comma shape that we typically see here with a extra tropical system, and it is now just off the southern coast here of Nova Scotia, winds of 100 miles per hour, and it's racing to the northeast at 30 miles per hour. And we have tropical storm and hurricane watches posted for parts of Nova Scotia and Newfoundland as the storm is racing again off towards the northeast. By Sunday, 2 o'clock, still 70-mile-per-hour winds, and by Monday it's moving off into the North Atlantic with 50-mile-per-hour winds. In the meantime, here in Hampton Roads, blue skies today, a chance for a few showers and thunderstorms as we get into the day tomorrow. I'll have details on that in the 7-day outlook coming up in a few minutes, David.
All right, Evan, thank you. The Outer Banks has a number of iconic piers, the Avalon Fishing Pier and Kill Devil Hills among them. It was not spared when Dorian came roaring through yesterday morning. Our Allie Weatherton tells us the plan to bring it back will be a community effort.
Cleanup continues on the Outer Banks after Hurricane Dorian. Shingles are missing off roofs and homes are without siding. George Wood says he only lost a few trees.
The neighbors pitched in. We were able to clean up the big trees and get out of my driveway and ultimately able to get out of the subdivision.
Many locals' first stop this morning was to the beach.
This is probably the worst damage I've seen, the pier.
A staple in this community, the Avalon Fishing Pier. Hurricane Dorian ripped it in half.
And I was surprised, but they told me they had 90-mile-an-hour winds here.
According to a Facebook post on the pier's page, the owners plan to rebuild. They are raising money on GoFundMe for repairs.
Locals, they're here every day, some of these people. It's like their second home.
And locals say this community will come together to help fix all the damage Hurricane Dorian left behind. Allie Weatherton, 13 News Now.
Hurricane Dorian caused an issue for early voting in parts of the Tar Heel state. The North Carolina Democratic Party and some candidates asked for early voting to be extended. So the Board of Elections issued an order to create one-stop early voting hours tomorrow. This is for 6 counties in the 3rd Congressional District: Camden, Currituck, Dare, Pasquotank, and Perquimans. Early voting and same-day registration will be available from noon until 3 p.m. at the County Board of Elections office. People in Elizabeth City are counting their blessings today. Dorian did a lot of damage there. Huge trees fell, knocking out power and streets flooded. 13 News Now anchor Jacqueline Lee paid a visit today.
Homeowners tell me this tree has been around for decades, but not only did Hurricane Dorian tear down the tree, the hurricane also knocked out the power.
At 95 years old, Thelma Horner thought she experienced it all. But Hurricane Dorian came with some firsts. It started with a snap.
It was tremendous, the sound, and so I knew the tree had fallen.
Horner says this 80-foot pine tree had withstood dozens of hurricanes, nor'easters, and tropical storms, but couldn't withstand Hurricane Dorian's powerful wind gusts.
If it had to happen, I'm glad it happened to a tree and that no one was injured.
After the storm passed, neighbors across Elizabeth City spent their morning assessing the damage.
Go around and find the limbs and things that have broken, cut them up a little smaller, and they put them on the street.
Gene Sawyer says they were all very lucky this time. They've dealt with hurricanes before that were far worse.
Water went out to the river, and usually when it comes back in, that's when it's bad, but it didn't. It didn't come in so high that it messed things up. So we've just dodged the bullet.
While homeowners are grateful, they currently don't have electricity. The pine tree knocked it out. It's something Horner says she hasn't dealt with in quite a long time.
I was caught short. I didn't have a candle and I was in the dark. So I'll be glad when the electricity comes back on again.
In Elizabeth City, Jacqueline Lee, 13 News Now.
The day after Dorian, thousands of people still are in the dark. Dominion Energy tells us its crews are out there in the field working hard to get the power back on. So far, Dominion has restored power to more than 410,000 customers in Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. But still, there are some without power. In parts of our viewing area in North Carolina, more than 15,000 people are in the dark, most of those in Dare and Currituck counties, and 158 people in Hampton Roads are without power. Dominion says that should be taken care of by tomorrow night. For a lot of us, what's left of Dorian is now piled up at the curb. Virginia Beach announcing late this afternoon its work crews will start Monday picking up yard debris. And as a result of the extra day service, crews may not be in your neighborhood on your regular day. Lots of people are in cleanup mode today across Hampton Roads. For the most part, it's contending with a few downed trees and scattered branches. 13 News Now reporter Dana Smith was out in Norfolk today checking on the progress.
Hurricane Dorian has come and gone.
We're just out here cleaning up the mess now.
Residents in the Ocean View community now tasked with the cleanup.
He's using a leaf blower, he's using saws. They cut some limbs down over there.
Twin sisters Priscilla Irwin and Pat Wood have lived here their entire lives.
The storm hadn't been bad here at all. We just have a few limbs down and leaves raked up. The water was great. It didn't come up near the house and all. We've got neighbors out already cleaning up their yards, so it's really a great place. Neighborhood.
Norfolk City crews were on hand to help residents with some of the bigger branches. Teams used bulldozers and trucks to clear a massive tree branch that fell on a power line.
When you have oak trees that are a few hundred years old, you have a tendency to have a lot of leaves and crap or stuff.
But people here said this mess isn't as bad as it has been in years past.
These are Hurricane Isabella, and this is Ocean View Fishing Pier, right before it went down. And this is actually me standing on the pier taking a picture of 15-foot waves hitting the pier.
And compared to some places in the Outer Banks and Virginia Beach, people here say they got lucky.
Both of us have places in Hatteras and Salvo, and I'm afraid it's going to be a bad time.
Dana Smith, 13 News Now.
Through the years, hurricanes and the high tide have swamped a local restaurant in Virginia Beach. We're talking about Bubbas. Many of you know the place. The owners got ahead of their problems and raised the property earlier this year. 13 News Now reporter Adriana de Alba is live there. And Adriana, how did it work out this time?
Well, David, it worked out great. The floodwaters didn't get onto the deck or the inside of the restaurant, but the building next door to it, that's a different story.
To the right, a newly raised Bubbas seafood restaurant is untouched by Hurricane Dorian. But on the left, floodwaters crept onto the back deck. Nora Khan has worked at Bubbas for 20 years.
During the 4 nor'easters that we had in the past, they went up at least 3 feet inside.
That's what led the owners to raise it 5 feet higher. And this time around, things turned out much different.
No floods. No flooding in here at all.
Now that the restaurant sits above the water, Khan says bring it on.
The owners of Bubba also own the back deck next door. Khan told me something was different about Dorian. It flooded the back deck's bar. She said that's a first, but the owners don't plan on raising it. We're live in Virginia Beach. Adriana de Alba, 13 News Now.
The Navy's headed back home. We're told nearly 30 ships and 120 aircraft will be back in the next few days. To play it safe, the assets left Naval Station Norfolk and JEB Little Creek on Wednesday ahead of Dorian. The Navy says the decision to bring everyone back comes after a thorough inspection of piers and airfields. The Dwight D. Eisenhower is the first ship coming back. It'll dock around 6:30. The others will return tomorrow and Monday. All right, Evan Stewart joins us now with a look at your forecast.
And we are looking at mostly sunny skies across the area today. Temperatures up to the mid-80s. Tomorrow, a chance at a couple of showers and thunderstorms. Not going to be a washout for your Sunday, but there will be a few around. Taking a look at the radar right now, it is clear here across eastern Virginia and North Carolina. As we take a look at the wider view, you can see mostly sunny skies as we went through the day today. Just a couple of clouds popping up from time to time. And of course, Dorian, as we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, racing off towards the north and east. So here's what it looks like as we go through the remainder of the evening. Partly cloudy skies, temperatures in the 70s, and later tonight we're looking at overnight lows down into the 60s for most spots. Could be a little bit of patchy fog in a few locations, and there could even be an isolated shower. I'd put those odds at only around 5 to 10% as we start the day on Sunday. But into the afternoon and evening, as the humidity and heat starts to build during the day, we'll look for a little bit of a better chance for an isolated shower or thunderstorm. High temperatures once again in the low to mid 80s. As we get into Sunday evening, notice still a chance at a shower or storm around. And then on Monday, the winds start to switch around towards the northeast. There could be an isolated shower or two in the morning. But with those northeast winds, I expect temperatures to be a few degrees cooler. Once again, there could be a pop-up shower, but not a total washout even on Monday. And as we go through the week, we're going to see fairly dry conditions, but the heat and humidity will really start to build as we get into the middle part of the week. Here's our sky view looking over parts of, this is on top of the Chamberlain, looking out over areas of the Chesapeake Bay and the James River. Right now, temperature coming in at 81 degrees under mostly sunny skies, southeasterly winds at 9 miles per hour. Humidity is at 62%, a little bit muggy. Dew point is 67 degrees. It's 81 in Elizabeth City, 76 degrees in Manio, 80 in Newport News, 81 in Williamsburg, 81 up at Wallops Island. Later tonight, we're looking at an overnight low of 68 degrees, mainly starlit skies with seasonable temperatures. And tomorrow, partly sunny, shower, thunderstorm in a couple of spots, 83 degrees. Partly cloudy tomorrow night, down to 70, and variably cloudy skies on Monday. A few showers still possible with northeast winds at 5 to 10 miles per hour. For Tuesday, 81, 85 on Wednesday with mostly sunny skies, and 89 on Thursday. Some locations will be in the low 90s. It'll be a humid day on Thursday, but a front will move in, giving us a chance at a few showers Friday, dropping temperatures back to closer to normal, which is 82 degrees. David?
All right, after devastating parts of the Bahamas and causing severe flooding on the Outer Banks, now Dorian is a post-tropical storm. Here's ABC's Zachary Quiche with the latest.
The skies have cleared and floodwaters are receding in North Carolina's Outer Banks after Dorian made landfall yesterday. Ocracoke Island was hammered, hit by heavy rains and storm surge flooding entire neighborhoods. Rescue teams there flying in to help the estimated 800 people who did not evacuate.
We didn't know it was going to be this bad.
North Carolina's governor touring the damage.
The people who did get flooded and who did get significant wind damage, this is a bad situation for them. We're going to pull together.
Nearly a week after Dorian devastated the Bahamas, the humanitarian crisis there is growing. The docks in Abaco filled with survivors hoping to be evacuated. The United Nations estimating at least 70,000 people are now homeless, both there and in Grand Bahama.
It's chaos here, and the place is uninhabitable. Nobody can live here.
Cruise ships have been repurposed to ferry people to Nassau. The U.S., part of an international coalition with the U.K., Canada, and Caribbean partners, working with private organizations to bring aid to areas destroyed by the storm. Bahamian officials saying the death toll could be, quote, unimaginable and staggering.
For the first time in my life, I saw a dead body in front of my eyes. So seeing that really switched my whole mood of there is no civilization no more.
And now, residents along Canada's east coast are preparing as Dorian is set to make landfall again. Zachary Quiche, ABC News, New York.
And that is 13 News Now. You're up to date at this hour. We're back tonight at 11. Get the latest headlines and breaking news anytime at 13newsnow.com. Have a great evening. We'll see you later.